Hey guys, long time no see, but welcome to another episode of Should Have Turned Left. I'm Ben at The Canadianized on Twitter, at Canadianized on various forums or Facebook.
I'm Riley, Spartan Ryer 63 on the forums.
And I'm Tom. I go by I Blame My Roles on various places, but not on the forums in a long time.
I'm like, I guess the forums still technically exist.
Yeah, I actually was browsing that, and I gotta say, me personally, as just someone who has went to the forums for the first time in 9 months last week, I don't like the new army listing, like how it's all consolidated. I miss like having all the armies having their own page on the forum.
Yeah, the lack of faction forums is kind of sad anymore.
That's why you go to Facebook.
Oh god, which is an even worse cesspool.
For lots of salty War Machine and hordes.
And one of the ongoing jokes is the Circle Facebook group is the new Scorn memes page.
That's probably true.
They're pretty bad.
Probably true. Though I've heard that there are like Minions. The Minions Facebook page is actually like quite a nice, pleasant. It's like a pleasant place to hang out.
Red's salty AF.
Red is salty.
I don't suppose that has anything to do with the new Zeros coming out?
Nah.
No, Red's just salty because it's red.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of racist, pointy-eared elves.
Using the already... Oh, son of a gun. We can't see half the clock.
Ah, there it is.
I thought... Oh, I know why.
Ladies
it's because I have the turn counter there and I moved the clock because when I set up the table, the clock wasn't blocked.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been a while since we've done a battle.
Indeed. Speaking of, we should go over lists quickly. I'm going first, so I'll go through mine. I am playing Wurmwood, Tree of Fate, and Cassius the Oathkeeper in Devourer's Host. By the way, sorry for the video quality. I forgot to hit record on the camera, so I'm using the game capture. Yay, I'm good at this.
We've only been doing this for like 2 years.
I know, right? Shut up. Anyways, my list. So, Wurmwood and Cassius, in their battle group is a Gorax and Ghetorix. For solos, I have the Bloodweaver Night Witch, I have EilishGarrity, and a free Ravager Shaman, and 2 Gallows Groves. For units, I have a unit of Shifting Stones, a Swamp Gobbers Bellows crew, 3 units of Tharn Bloodweavers, and 2 units of Tharn Ravagers, both with free command attachments. Thief Force benefits, free models, War Beasts have snacking, so one of Ghetorix's warps is literally useless, or I should say redundant. And for each 20 points of Tharn, I get a free corpse on a Heart Eater model, so I start with 6 corpses on random things. And I'm playing against Cephalyx. What are you bringing, Thomas?
I am bringing one of the 2 Cephalyx casters, specifically Cognifex Cyphon. But I'm going to take a sec to tell you about Cognifex's new nickname, which is Cogni West. And he would like to tell you that slavery to the Cephalyx is, in fact, a choice. There are, in his battle group, are 4 Wreckers. I then have 3 Cephalyx Agitators, a Cephalyx Dominator with the Boomhowlers, which is a new thing. I recently got them a while back and wanted to give them a try. And then I have 3 minimum units of Mindbenders, and then a free unit of Cephalyx Overlords in here.
And so we played a warm-up / practice game at 50 points slightly before this. We didn't finish it out because of time, but more or less as a refresher. I was playing a toned-down version of this list. You were playing Thexus. So I know I've got one person that I know he plays against Thexus a lot, but after playing that practice game, we decided Cognifex Cyphon actually has a bit of a better game into Circle. You want to go over part of why?
Yeah, there's 2 big spells that Cognifex has that help him out a lot in the matchup against Circle. The big one that he has is, personally in my opinion, which is Onslaught, which allows him Pathfinder. It doesn't help in this matchup necessarily with Wurmwood making a forest I can't see through to charge anyway, but it would help with like having guys hiding in trees and forests, which Circle likes a lot, and having the ability to give most of my army Pathfinder to charge if needed is pretty helpful. The other reason it matters is a spell called Empathetic Overload, which, for those of you unfamiliar with it, it costs 3, and you can target, when you target your own friendly models with it, it hits automatically. And then everything in a 4-inch AoE around that hit model suffers a POW 12. So it's very handy for hitting hard elusive models.
So one of the hilarious things that...
just real quick, for people that don't know, where's the interaction on the AoE damage that it does with Empathic Overload?
It is not blast damage.
It's not blast. What's the interaction there for people that don't understand it?
So basically, let's say that I'm going up against Chaos Eliminators or something like that, something that has a really high defense. I just run one of my own friendly models up there and have Cognifex target it. That model blows up, hurts itself, but also automatically gets everything in that 4-inch AoE with a POW 12, which actually matters for some models that could actually survive blast damage. You might be able to survive a POW 6 if you have high defense, but you're probably not surviving a POW 12.
Yeah, and then something else worth noting is, yes, Empathic Overload is base range 8. However, Cyphon has a special rule called Essence Amplifier, which if he declares he is casting a spell and he is the point of origin, it's +5 range. So really, it's a range 13 auto-hitting POW 12 on a 4-inch AoE.
With the caveat that you have to sacrifice a drudge to do it.
Wow, you have to sacrifice a drudge? Man, that's a real high cost there, buddy.
Now, here's the hilarious thing. We have... wow, I've already been drinking enough. I've already forgot the name of it. We have Empathic Overload on Cognifex side. We have Hellmouth on Wurmwood side. We're both killing our own models to do AoE POW 12s that aren't blast. We're playing infantry spam, infantry killer lists.
Also known as Bad Bosses 3.
Yes! It's like, just... Yeah, this is horrible all the way around, and we totally deserve each other for it. It's so bad and hilarious.
It's not as bad as 2 Mark II Legion players going, hey, let's play a Lilith 2 mirror match. But it's still pretty bad.
Also not as bad as Mark II pre-Stones nerf Circle players just having this giant gap in the center of the table waiting for somebody to put something inside double port range.
Let's see here. I've got 16 inches, roughly, plus base size that I can just teleport anybody into, and everybody on the other side of the table is like, screw you!
I can arbitrarily kill you from 14 inches off this line.
Gosh, you're the worst.
It doesn't exist anymore.
I know, which is a good thing.
Yes, agreed. But, yeah, it's... All right, we kill our own stuff to kill our opponent's stuff, and this is going to be interesting.
So I will say that I start out the game already not great. For those of you who have seen me previously on the channel, I ran an Exelon list against Ben almost about a year and a half ago, I want to say.
We can look it up.
But I lost that game handily because I... played too cautiously against a list that I knew would chew through my infantry. And so in that game, by the time my turn 2 around, he was already past the objective on my side. And I determined that I was not going to let that happen this time. That being said, I still play really defensively here because I will admit that I am afraid of losing infantry. It's a bad habit I have of my playing games. So I already start out not just being unafraid and being willing to lose some guys, and I start the line of battle pretty far back on my side.
Yep. Oh, hey, there it is. When did this get released?
Is that a Mark II game?
No. It's 75 points. Batrep number 9, Circle vs. Mercs.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen.
And...
So if you want to go watch pre-Theme Force, Theme Machine...
I had a Theme Force.
Yeah, he does have a Theme Force.
Cephalyx.
September 13th, 2016.
The rest of us didn't have Theme Forces back then.
Oh my gosh, I had Brenos on the table?
Brenos!
What?
Brenos
What was
the
I
Elder
doing?
Beard.
I had
Guys.
Brenos with Chromac too. I'm so confused.
Guys.
Hey, Bloodweavers are on the table that much.
I need somebody to go find that video, get a screen cap of Brenos on the table, and post it into the circle page just to see what happens.
With a win.
We are legitimate battle report group, people.
Oh my gosh, he's not a proxy. My list was Chromac 2, Wild Argus, Feral, Brenos, Ghetorix, Lanissa Rissel, Alton Ashley, Bloodweaver Nightwitch, Bloodweavers, Blood Trackers Max with Nuala. I'm so confused. What did I do?
Like I said, somebody get a screen cap. I give you permission to use our own product and post it to the circle page and just see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Why not? I used Brenos. Anyways, you will find Brenos nowhere near this list because I'm not playing that.
Are you kidding me? He was way near that list. He's on the side of the table.
Oh, yeah, I guess you actually can see his base right there.
Now, I will say that I have not played War Machine in about 9 months since my last game. And I did not follow the game either during that 9 months due to the game in my area, which is out by Clovis, Lubbock, Amarillo, is entirely dead out there as far as I know. Yeah. So this was very much a relearning game for me. So if you see me make mistakes or fudge movement on accident, things like that, bear with me because, again, I have been playing 40K the last 4 months, which we aren't going to get into because that's a can of worms. Meh. But it obviously has a lot of different habits than War Machine does. So,
yeah, it does. But also at the same time, we're drinking while doing this. There are going to be mistakes. We are not pros. We do not pretend to be pros. We have fun.
Frankly, we don't even pretend to be knowledgeable about the game.
Exactly.
Why are we rolling dice again? It's the thing to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, by the way, just because we like to talk about it, what are we all drinking?
Yes, what are we drinking?
So this is Softly Spoken Stout, and it's a stout, obviously, from the brewery that is out in Portales called Roosevelt. They're their own restaurant. They got a pizza place out there. If you're ever out by Portales, please don't. No, it's not bad. But yeah, so it's pretty much just a stout. We found out before I came up here that we all like dark beers, so it was pretty much the safe one to go for.
That's right. People know. The people know.
By the way, that picture that you don't think actually shows what you're drinking.
Can you tell that it's a hef?
Oh, it totally does. You totally can. You can tell exactly what it is. Well. It's amazing.
It happens. But see, you can't see through this. I can't see you all through this, which means it's a good beer.
They can't see what you're holding anyways because the game's on the screen.
That's okay. So what's going on at this point? It looks like we've gotten into turn 2.
Okay, so we're top of turn 2. Nothing has attacked anything yet. Oh, no. So Thomas killed his own Dominator.
Yes, this is a strategy that I had read online and I wanted to give it a try, which is...
I like it, actually.
Normally, Dominators are useful because they give granted tough, which on a lot of mercenary units, giving them tough, like Crow's Cutthroats or even Chaosi, it's pretty good to give them tough. The thing is that I have them on Boomhowlers, which already have tough. So that means that the only thing that the Boomhowlers get from having a Dominator attached to them is a handicap that if the Dominator dies, I can only run on the next turn.
Yup.
So instead, you wind up treating the Dominator as simply a 1-point price to bring any mercenary unit onto the table, and you kill the Dominator on turn 1 with your own models, since you're running the Boomhowlers anyway. So unfortunately, I kind of whiffed the setup for that badly, so I had to use 3 models to do what 1 model should have been able to do. Excuse me. But yeah, that's the plan, is that if you don't need tough on a unit, just kill the Dominator turn 1, and then you don't have to worry about your opponent sniping him out and making a unit useless on a turn where it really should be doing things.
Yeah, and considering you still do your fell call when you run, it's like, oh, that's actually a really good move. I mean, you keep a model back, but... Nah.
But in a list like this where I have 4 wreckers anyway, you probably want to be keeping one of them back anyway as insurance, again, for just backup anyway.
Though, it doesn't help when one attack misses and then the Dominator makes his tough roll.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny. But
that Dominator was like, no, I'm not dying, man.
Man, I love it when your model's tough when you don't want them to.
I know, right?
It's the most annoying thing. I was playing a game one time at our local game store.
It's not optional.
And I was playing trolls. I had a bunch of warders, and one of my warders, I wanted him to die because I really wanted to cap the zone, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to get him into the zone. And so I walked him out with a free strike and took the free strike from a Crix Jack, tuft, and it's just laying like 4 inches outside the zone. And I'm just like, why? I need to capture this zone. So I ended up having, I think like a heavy beat, like a mauler go in. Ended up killing the Crix heavy, but I had like 2 more fury that I could put on it, and so I spent a fury and just mashed my own warder into the ground with my with my mauler because I really wanted to score a zone. Yeah, models toughing when you don't want them to is the worst.
Yeah. Yep.
The absolute worst.
So, top of 2, my motive right now is it's definitely going to be free turn. So, get all the activations that care about that stupid forest in the way done.
And then do something that rhymes with Bellmouth?
Yeah. This time I'm not targeting my own models, which is a bit of a weird sensation for me, but
I wonder what that could
thing.
be.
Yeah. Not under feet, because then Cassius wouldn't have line of sight to what I want to Hellmouth, so tough rolls still work.
Tough rolls.
Yeah, see, if I can see through trees, then my feat gets a lot more interesting, because if you get knocked down, you suffer a point of damage, so if you tough, you die.
Can you see through trees?
Not with Cassius.
Ha!
My Ravagers have Tree Walker, so they can.
Can your Ravagers cast Hellmouth?
No.
Ah!
I'm going to bring this unit of 5 guys who can all cast Hellmouth once per turn.
That would be so stupid. So stupid broken.
Now, also get this. My trees cannot see through trees. I have 3 of them in this
trees
list.
Don't even have eyes. They're trees.
Why doesn't Wurmwood have eyeless sight?
That's a great question. That's a fantastic question. Probably because Wurmwood's already an incredibly powerful caster, and giving him eyeless sight would...
Oh, never mind. Wurmwood does have eyeless sight. Hey! Wurmwood has eyeless sight. Holy shit.
Read your effing cards.
I'd never noticed that before. That changes so much.
Not in this game, though.
Actually, it does. I would have targeted an Overlord.
Dun, dun, dun.
No, Overlords have stealth. Overlords have stealth.
Eyeless sight ignores it.
That's right, it does, yeah.
Statement. It's very true statement. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben was already like 2.5 beers deep when they started playing this game.
I've also been playing Wurmwood for how long?
That was my strategy for having us do a pre-game, was get you drunk before our actual game.
Bam. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, so if you're visiting us here on Should Have Turned Left and you want to do well in your game, play us in a practice game and get either one of us drunk, you'll probably win. I mean, admittedly, you'll beat me most of the time anyways, but...
And just pretend to drink your own beer. Man, this is good. You want another?
Just don't even take the cap off of it. You'll be fine.
Dude. Oh, man.
Just go put it back in the fridge. You'll be fine.
Sure. Considering we're already at my house, I have nowhere to go, and I don't care how much I drink.
That's true. That's why we have it at Ben's house.
I'm already home. Whee!
I will say that Ben did have some not great rolls on his turn 1.
Yeah, it happens.
It
was kind of funny.
Yeah, a lot of the witches.
Yep.
Witches missed with their attacks straight up, even on the trolls, who I did put blur on. Not that it matters for melee, but yeah, it was actually pretty. I'm not going to say it was entertaining, but it was kind of refreshing to see things that I thought were going to die. Like, up at the top of the screen, you can see that temple.
Spoiler alert for this turn, everything dies. What the fuck?
So here I am learning, once again, it's been a while since I played, I'm learning the limitations of even sprays that sprays cannot hit models that the guy who's shooting can't see. Because I thought for a sec, okay, I'm going to move Cyphon up, put Mind Wipe onto Wurmwood, and then Wurmwood's going to be a sad tree. But unfortunately, Wurmwood is hidden in such a place that I would not be able to do that.
Because my feet is awesome. By the way, Wurmwood would be a very sad tree. It just means Cassius has to kill a monstrosity himself because he can spend the fury off Wurmwood.
There's truth to that. Could he do it? Because what's Cassius' P plus S?
12, I think.
Wrecker's arm is 17. He's dice off 5. He's got 8 attacks, essentially.
Range 1, Mat 6, P plus S 12. And he has 10 fury available to him.
I mean, he could. Do you really want to spend that much fury clearing off one wrecker?
I mean,
if I can't cast spells.
Yeah, if you can't cast spells and you don't have any other use for the fury aside saving some for transfers.
You could probably spend 8 of that and probably be okay. 2 transfers should be fine.
Yeah. So here's where I almost didn't read my own cards, and Ben was nice enough to do it.
Well, after this unit activation.
So Mindbenders, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Cephalyx, the one that matters is the gray guy that's right by the back of the army of that unit of Mindbenders. He can cast spells, specifically sprays that don't need line of sight, through the drudges in his unit. What I had forgotten from not playing for so long, and Ben was nice to remind me, is that when he arcs through his drudges, he casts the spell 3 times, not just once. So that means I am casting 3 line of sight, ignoring 8-inch sprays from each of my 3 Mindbender units.
Yeah. And then the thing you notice later is all that is simultaneous.
Yes.
Dear God, what a mess.
So
all of it is simultaneous?
This unit is a little weird because we're figuring out how they work.
Gosh.
The next 2 units, you'll actually see it done completely properly. It's a weird interaction.
Absolutely despise simultaneous interactions.
Well, and so how it works is that when you choose you're going to arc a spell, at that point you determine how many times you want to arc it up to 3 times.
And you determine all your targets.
And you have to pick which 3 drudges are going to suicide themselves to do it, and do all your targets at once. So for future reference, you can catch people doing this because I didn't know about it. It's not cast a spell, decide if the next one's now going to arc, do it again. You have to say already from the start, I'm going to lose 3 guys, even if I kill the target that I'm going to sacrifice to kill.
And that can be a huge time sink right there, because you've got to sit there and think about it, determine if you're not sure what you want to do. Ooh, that's a little bit scary.
Yeah, and then with my male Tharn having tough, one thing that ends up coming up is there's one Tharn that's caught under 2 separate sprays, but because everything is simultaneous, one tough check determines whether or not he lives. Because all the damage will be applied at once, then you trigger the disabled box destroyed thing.
Yeah, because
so one tough check determines everything.
That one Tharn ends up taking 8 damage from 2 sprays and then toughs. So
yeah, I think it's one of those. He gets put under 1 spray. The first spray was enough to kill it. So I was like, okay, because everything's simultaneous, one tough check determines all of it. I rolled my tough. He survived, so we didn't even bother rolling against him with the second spray because of the whole simultaneous thing.
That being said, and I roll pretty darn well here in clearing out the Blood Witches. Like the
Good lord, needing hates to hit.
The Mindbenders only have magic ability 6, which is kind of at that point where you're like, ugh, when you start thinking about hitting things.
Can you pass me the growler, please? That's actually pretty good.
And I actually managed to roll hot for killing off just the witches. But then Ben makes it up by rolling hot for the toughs for the Tharns in the back row.
Yeah, I have one that won't die. Also, that little structure thing that I knocked over, I knock over several times. At some point, I knock over my Gallows Grove. I don't know when that happens, but that's going to happen at some point. Somebody's
Ben may or may not have been slightly drunk this game.
That's the point of the channel, right?
If
you want coherent battle reports, go watch Arcane Assist. If you want incoherent, watch us.
If you want coherent battle reports, go watch literally any other battle report channel besides us.
I'm just quoting Menoth John because I love that one.
That's true. Arcane Assist is great. Advanced Maneuvers is great.
It's like there are two descriptors of this channel that I love. The first one is the one I just quoted from Menoth John. The second one, I can't remember who posted it. I will look it up. I have it screenshotted and saved and cropped somewhere. It's like watching MST3K play War Machine.
It was actually on because I was
hang my head.
I actually saw that comment. It is on the second game that I came to play with you guys, which was me bringing my Viros 2 all the horses list.
Oh, that's right. You brought Horse Mountain.
Oh yeah, I played Vindictus into that. Yeah, that was before.
That is my other favorite description of this channel.
That was before I realized that Protectorate wasn't in a terribly good place for Mark III.
Yeah.
And I still was really trying to make, and I'm still trying to make them work.
Hey, you got the idea right now.
War Machine 2018. War Machine Weekend 2018.
Yeah.
Here I come.
So, let's see. I think the Circle stuff is supposed to be released in September.
Oh, the Exemplar stuff better be released by that point.
Why is my work phone ringing?
Ruh-roh.
I'm not on call. I'm not backup. I'm going to see what that is, and I'll be right back.
So now that he's gone...
Now that Ben's gone, we can talk crap about him, and he won't know, except for when he edits this video. Anyways, it was interesting hearing this game go on. I was in the background playing another game, essentially, but I was hearing things that were going on, hearing various yelps and squeals of excitement, groans of despair.
Number I didn't recognize. Screw.
Bam. There we go. But yeah, it was interesting. I walked over a couple times to view it, and every time I walked over, being a player who doesn't play super janky armies, I play minions, I play Trollbloods, I play Protectorate. Like, the amount of jank that I can do is pretty minimal. I would walk over and see what's going on with the table and just be like, what in the name of all that is good and holy is happening on this table?
Considering both of these armies are total jank.
There's, like, I'd walk over and just be like, how has so much died? It's been a turn.
And then the next question is, how much did you kill yourself?
Basically, but I didn't worry about that because there was a Sorsha 2 trying to kill me on the other table. So,
Did that one actually finish?
It did, yeah.
Okay.
I went 1-6-1 on scenario.
Ouch.
Exemplar errants, even though they're changing with the CID, are pretty cool because they jammed 3 Khador heavies for 3 turns. It was cool.
I'm just trying to think what our CP end would have been.
Spoilers.
You score scenario once after the end of the game. People are going to see the end of the game. I'm not actually spoiling anything. I'll announce it later because I don't remember, so I'm going to have to watch this to see where everything wants to see what control points are.
Although I won't lie, not necessarily every battle report, but sometimes I skip to, like, when I want to watch a battle report, not just War Machine, anything, I'll go to the end, see who wins real quick, because sometimes it's fun just seeing who wins and then watching the journey to get there.
Oh, yeah.
Because
a lot of people do that.
I like to see who wins, because if the person that I want to win wins, I keep watching it. And if the person I want to win doesn't win, I turn it off and go find something else to watch.
Oh, come on. Even if there's a loss, there's still things to be learned by it.
That's probably true, but I don't have time for that.
Oh, jeez.
There's always something else I can go watch on YouTube. Trust me.
True.
Maybe that's why I'm not a very good player.
And you watch more Arcane Assist than I do.
That's true. I watch way more Arcane Assist
yes,
than
you
you
do. I listen to just about every podcast, but not so much watching YouTube.
I watch every single Arcane Assist battle report that comes out, as well as Advanced Maneuvers. So
yeah, this is my feet turn. Things have happened. I've put stuff in the way. I'm wanting to prevent the Alpha Strike as much as possible and position myself for better stuff next turn.
We're still waiting on an Alpha Strike? Oh my gosh, I literally don't have time for this battle.
Because I failed miserably on my Alpha Strike.
You killed
Well, not miserably,
you
but
killed
I failed pretty
Boomhowler on turn 2. Like,
yes, I got him with the Stranglehold under Blur. It was awesome. And I didn't need Puppet Master for it, even though I had it.
At that point, I was literally just like, okay, my Boomhowlers are now pretty much just Empathetic Overload and Tar Pit units. Not even good Tar Pits units at this
Considering
point.
I have grievous wounds on my chicks.
Yeah. I will say that...
I'm so looking forward to Tharn CID. I want to see what happens. I want to put Black in this list.
I will say that there is a change I would make to this list, and it probably would be to drop the Boomhowlers. But I will say that the Boomhowlers are relatively viable when brought with Cognifex, because Cognifex has 2 buff spells of Blur and Perseverance, both of which put the Boomhowlers in a pretty good position of either being defense 15 against ranged or armor 17, which both of those are pretty good numbers to have.
Oh yeah, and
dang, y'all.
When you
heard it here
consider
first, Boomhowlers and Mark III are viable.
when playing in Cephalyx. Cyphon specifically. Well, no, because I mean, when you consider most of your magic abilities are around 6 or 7, going from 5s or 6s to hit to 8 or 9s to hit, you can't get a bigger jump on the bell curve like that. So Blur is huge for stuff like that. I mean, kind of the same thing with ranged attacks. Rat 5 or 6. Going from 6 or 7s to 9 or 10s, like it's a huge chunk of the bell curve.
And Boomhowlers have the advantage of being able to benefit from both the armor and obviously not at the same time because they're both upkeep spells.
Yeah.
But both spells are relevant for the Boomhowlers as opposed to bringing something like Chaosi, which, okay, you make them harder to hit. They're already hard to hit. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
And the armor buff doesn't do anything for them.
And your armor buff, it's like, okay, you've got your POW 10 pop guns. All right, from 6s to kill to 8s to kill. Again, you're on that biggest part of the bell curve. Like, their stats are to where they take either buff really, really well. But they really do need one of those buffs. Like, that, just the 12-15 stat line, yeah, they need a buff to get to that nice little sweet spot, which Cyphon really does do well. Okay, so Cyphon did his thing.
That being said, I am really interested to pick up a unit of Thorn Arcane Mages. And bring 1 or 2 units of them under Dominators. Because they give Cephalyx good, not magic ranged, but actual ranged attacks that Cephalyx doesn't have otherwise. Well, okay, never mind. We have Pistol Wraiths again, which could fulfill that role.
Oh yeah, you do have those, and you have the chain attack freeze thing.
Mm-hmm. So, but Thorn Mages give you
that's when I realized my Gallows Grove was tipped over.
But Thorn Mages give you 6 shots, all with different abilities, and even like, well,
whoa, they're good. Thunderbolt.
Yeah,
and all of those attacks are still magical because they're gun mages.
They also have both barrels, which can make it a POW 14 gun.
I was actually thinking Thunderbolt is the amazing one.
Oh yeah, Thunderbolt is amazing.
For Cephalyx, because it's a really sad face when you realize that as good as your monstrosities can be with buffs, they're base mat 5, which is really sad if you can't get an agitator up there to make them mat 7. Thunderbolt can fix that a lot by knocking the model down. Okay, now my wreckers have no trouble hitting you.
Yeah, but crits aren't really that reliable. I look at Thunderbolt and think scenario. It was like, oh, you towed its own, cool, get out.
But again, that would matter for Cyphon, not so much for Exis.
For Thexus, yeah,
because Thexus gives no fucks about whether you're in the zone. He just pops speed and telekinesis you, and look, I would get the zone now.
Oh dear God. No, I'm just thinking, okay, Thexus with gun mages, is there a way to keep... No, you can't. You can get any model out of a zone.
Yep. You can get basically anything out of a zone because you can Thunderbolt anything.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those, you got 4 inches just out of feet and TK, and then you have however many D3s to get the model out that way. Like you, if you roll 1, you've still got 6 inches, and hey, look, a circle radius is 6 inches.
Bing, 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 bing. Guess what? I got you out.
Good
Suck on
lord. Scenario monster got even monstrous.
How much are the gun mages?
9 points.
9 points.
Yeah,
so
then
it's
that means you're taking 18. If you're taking 2 units, that's 18 points.
which make it 20 because you need the 1 point
because the 1
dominators.
point dominator. So I mean, is
And Theme
is
Force
it, is
requires
it, is 20
grudges?
points? 20 points for essentially 6 models.
No,
is that,
for every
is that worth it?
Full 30 points of units and solos, so they still count towards your free stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it?
That's solid.
It's solid. Is it worth it? I don't know. I'm not a Cephalyx player, so I'm not going to make any judgment on
But I will say that all the
Something to think
Cephalyx lists that I have played and all the Cephalyx lists I've seen played are all jank. Like Cephalyx.
Oh, yeah.
Cephalyx
Nice.
is not screwed faction, a skewed faction.
Man, Cephalyx is screwed.
So back to the game. I'm getting pretty downhearted here because you
There's a
can
game?
see where Ben's line has reached in my front line.
Both Ravagers have done their mini feat for Overtake and Wonderful Corpse Soul Collection and things, and that is where I take my Bloodweaver and go, oh yeah, she needs to not immediately die to a light of sight ignoring
Because
spray.
he was like, I'm behind the force, you can't see me. And I give him an eyebrow, and he's like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you ignore light of sight. She's the only member in that unit. I want to control this zone. Back up! And speaking of jank, we have Ghetorix getting placed by shifting stones, so I can target my Tharn Ravager Chieftain, so Ghetorix can smack the crap out of a wrecker.
You can start placing your bets now on how many hits it takes to get to the center of a wrecking pop.
Spoiler, less than 5.
Wah, wah.
Well, I mean, that's the maximum Ghetorix can make, and he kills the thing, so it's, yeah.
But yeah, so
And I cast Spiny Growth, so.
I'm starting to feel pretty about this game. Like, not that I had a lot of fun with this game.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm definitely starting to get to that point of feeling like I am not going to win this game unless I catch a break. Because you'll notice that part of the issue with killing own models is that
Your own models die.
Yes. So you'll notice that across the board now, I don't have any more drudges left on the field, and this is only really the 3rd turn of engagement happening.
Is that a drudge?
No,
I think that's a drudge.
Oh yeah, that's a drudge that hasn't died yet.
He goes, yes, that is. That hasn't died yet. Let's wait for
Oh,
the
that's right.
video
There's
to roll.
2 back there.
Yes, with two Tharns
You also
on
got
him.
2
so.
boobies currently.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much down at this point to just my support solos and 4 wreckers, which admittedly
And
4
officers.
I mean,
Right.
that's not an awful place to be, though, because you've got
No.
4 wreckers on the table.
Yeah.
but
4 heavies.
But if points weren't a thing, I could definitely see the wreckers working their way back through threshers and managing to kill
Yeah,
more.
that's
than
what
they
I'm saying.
can.
If scenario wasn't a deal, 4 wreckers is no joke. The issue is now you're down on your attrition to almost out of scenario, essentially.
Yeah, this turn ends 4-1 CPs.
Yeah.
Like, I score... So, previous turn, we both scored our rectangular zones. This turn, I score my rectangular zone, both circle zones, because, hey, I only have 1 Bloodweaver wedge, so Bloodweaver left. So, she scores the south zone. I haven't had enough to drink yet. I have...
Somebody fill up his glass!
I just did that. Even though they're crazy out of formation, I still have another unit of Bloodweavers in a full unit in the north zone. Nobody's out of nobody's out of the zone on that one, so I scored there. And I am contesting with 3 models in yours rectangular zone?
Yeah,
Looks like.
3 because there's the
3 Ravagers from 2 different units. 2 of them are corroded. They're contesting.
I I am really disappointed I didn't get to do that jank. I picked this side because
that's right.
I was hoping to get my monstrosities lit on corrosion, so they would get a free focus every turn from taking 1 corrosion damage every turn.
Actually, you know what? That doesn't work for the same reason Spiny Growth doesn't work.
No, because
It's not an attack. Does it say continuous
No.
effect?
hyper aggressive is
Hyper aggressive is the attack. Crap. Rulebook!
I got it right here. Monstrosity is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, rulebook.
Monstrosities. Monstrosities have the ability of Rage Fuel.
Check out what happened to my Bible book.
Though monstrosities can be allocated focus normally, they do not power up and do not automatically gain a focus point for being in the controlling warcaster's control range during the control phase. Instead, a monstrosity gains 1 focus each time it suffers damage as a result of an attack or a continuous effect.
Oh yeah, so corrosion real good.
Yep, so pro tip, when you see an acid bath, send your monstrosities into it.
Oh yeah, just touch it and get out and get corroded and get the free
Pro
focus.
tip: give them the herps or get them on fire. They'll be better off for it.
Herps is better because it's auto damage. They might not take damage from fire.
That's why I put herps first. That's the first and only time you will ever hear pro tip give somebody herpes.
Yes.
Don't give anybody herpes in real life. If you have that,
Yeah,
you
no
need to go
kidding.
see a medical professional. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, we're on Ghetorix attack number 3.
Although, random fact that I found out, apparently
And dead monstrosity. How many got it
it
right?
is no longer a major crime. I can't remember what they lowered it to, but it is no longer a major crime to knowingly give someone AIDS. Like
That's actually kind of sad.
yeah, like my wife and I were reading about it, not for reasons you might think, but
Wow. Okay.
but we were reading it because we were wondering like the potentiality of, would it count as murder if you intentionally gave someone AIDS to, like, would it be manslaughter to give them AIDS because you know they might die from it? And we found out that it's like,
right?
What kind of conversations are you having? Like, jeez Louise.
Oh, stinky kitty, I need to take you to bed.
Yeah.
But so anyway, it's top of my turn 3, and you can't see my clock, but I have 14 minutes left on my clock back there.
Oh yeah, clock's running pretty low, pretty quick.
And I am looking at my clock. I'm looking at the board, and I'm like, okay, I have one choice.
By the way, I don't have the ring down, but the Gobbers did Cloud, giving Wurmwood and Cassius stealth, and I did not want to fight with that, so we just agreed that, yeah, they're in there.
Yeah, and we pretty much agreed this turn that if my assassination here, the Hail Mary assassination didn't work, it was pretty much game at that point anyway.
Because I forgot speed buff on feet turn.
Yes, Cognifex's feat, in fact. Let us talk about Cognifex's feat, because it's a bit
For
of
some reason, I just thought it was strength def arm.
It is. Cognifex's
speed.
feat. Monstrosities in
arm.
Cyphon's battle group, currently in his control range, gain +3 speed, strength, and armor for 1 round. If you benefit from that, you suffer 1 damage to each column of their damage grids at the end of the activations this turn.
I'm smart.
So that means that my monstrosities on feat turn have a threat range of 13-inch charge. Sorry, 11-inch. No, yeah, 11-inch charge
2-inch melee.
and beatback, which also increases threat range a little bit more. So my goal here is to try to clear out the Tharns that are in that middle monstrosity's way to get that one monstrosity up in there.
Yeah, after I looked up your feet, I'm like, oh. I looked at where my 13-inch stick was, and then that's where I checked and went, yep, I'm screwed.
But it almost didn't happen because his Tharns once again roll pretty darn good. His Tharns rolled good tough checks. I roll terrible damage rolls, and I end up having to spend like 4 models to kill the 2 Tharns that are standing in the way.
Yeah, and the one that you actually needed to clear the lane for did his tough check. It was amazing.
Seems decent.
Seems decent.
Seems like
But yeah, it was.
And
like,
then I try empathetic
no.
overloading my agitator.
Oh,
and
yeah,
and
you
the Tharn
did.
survives with 1 point, but the agitator himself blows up.
you didn't need that agitator anyways.
No.
Not at the point we were at. He was not going to be doing me any good anyway.
Dude, there's still a good chunk of that growler. We need to finish that.
Would you like more?
You know what? I'll say yes to that.
Good man. It's like,
Especially
I've
because
already
if I
refilled.
return this growler, I get like $5 off the next one. So
Oh, yeah, no reason not to. Oh, yeah, here we are trying to figure out where one of the wreckers is going to go, and eventually just ends up being, screw this. There is a take back here, because, like, oh, yeah, you only have Pathfinder if you charge. It's like, fine, I walk and I smack this guy, because screw that guy.
because again, like if I don't get this Tharn out of the way, that's game anyway. So it doesn't really
the
matter
charge
what
lane
else.
gets real
Screw that
weird.
guy.
And, yeah, basically, because screw that guy. So that guy dies. Now the charge lane is wide open.
Doing the Lord's work.
Almost.
I try to move
Now
an
it's wide open
agitator
again.
up there because to get myself the +2 mat. In a second, I realize it doesn't even matter. I don't even manage to get within range of the agitator's +2 to mat and damage. But then it kind of dawns on me that even
hey,
if I'm
Wurmwood's auto hit.
yeah, Wurmwood gets auto hit, and with the feat, it's dice -1 anyway. So
And
I
he
don't.
spent all his furry, so...
Mistakes.
Mistakes were made.
Somebody got greedy.
Yep.
Sounds like
I totally
Wurmwood
got greedy. I totally got greedy.
And as a result, Menoth's work was done
Yeah, I mean...
by unwitting
good Lord.
servants.
Screw you. You know, I have Old Witch too. Where's David?
What is protectorate policy on monstrosities, by the way?
Oh, yeah, huh?
What would be protectorates? Well, let's see. They probably don't like Cephalyx anyways, because they're not Menites and they're not a part of the protectorate.
Have you ever tried going to them? I have yet to see a Menite missionary show up at my Cephalyx doorstep asking me if I know about the Lord and Savior.
Well, that's probably true. My
Game
guess
ends.
is they wouldn't. The Battle of the Thornwood showed the Protectorate what was up real quick, buddy.
By the way, game ends. Assassination loss. However, I'm at 6-1 for control points.
So
I still lose because of assassination, but because scenario gets scored once more, I control both circle zones. I don't control my rectangular zone because wild war beasts don't control.
So guess what? In a tournament setting, even in a loss, he comes away with 5 control points.
Exactly, with 5 more than my opponent.
Not a bad loss at all.
That is not a bad loss at all. There's also 9 minutes left on Thomas's clock, and I'm pretty sure the game is ending by the way I'm flipping dice around, and there aren't any dice rolled anymore.
Yeah.
And also we have like less than 5 minutes left in the video.
But it was a
But-
fun game. It
Yeah.
was a good game for me to remember everything that I'd forgotten about the game and get back into it. And I am going to try to come up here for more games as long as these guys keep having me.
Oh, heck yeah.
So,
Oh, hey, and here we go where this is where I could have prevented assassination. Where it's like, if I didn't bounce Cassius back, or if I realized I didn't need Curse of Shadows, I could have brought Cassius back and put a forest in the way and turned assassination off completely.
Yeah, I think watching the game happen, Thomas was in a really, really, really bad spot. Like,
Yeah.
like he was not having a good day. But funny enough,
I left myself open.
I actually just got done listening to a Muse on Minis podcast where they talk about this. Where
Yeah.
when you're either you lose list chicken, or your game is just going south really fast, what do? And it's one of the things they said, even though it's really hard, don't lose your head, right? Take the advantages that you get. And he looked at it and said, well, you know what? I have an assassination attempt. Doesn't matter how bad it is, I'm losing this turn if I don't do this. and I might still lose this turn, so I'm going to take it. And it ended up going, well, as well as it could go for Thomas.
Exactly.
It
worked.
To people who might be watching our channel who aren't experienced War Machine players, right? If you're down in the dumps when you're playing a game and you know that, like, hey, as soon as the turn flips back over, he's going to win on scenario. If there's an assassination attempt, you might as well do it because you're going to lose anyways. So just do it and see if it pulls off. Now, admittedly, this assassination attempt was not like a 15%er. This assassination attempt
I'm actually
was
working out the
probably
odds
like,
right now.
Just looking at it and seeing everything I had to do, my guess is this was probably like a 50 to 60% chance.
But even if you don't manage to kill it, like, I'll be honest, nothing feels like you made progress in the game than hurting the Warcaster.
Exactly.
Like,
yes.
So even if you end up only putting, like, oh man, like my opponent was, I don't know, let's say Rashad.
94.04.
94.04?
Yeah.
But like,
I screwed up.
but even if you end up with something
Could
like,
have made it 0.
my opponent was Rasheth, and I only managed to put 4 damage on him. Like, at least then you still felt like, I had a chance, I took the chance, and like I said, nothing feels quite as good as
got a
putting
text message.
damage on a Warcaster.
Oh, yeah. I left myself open to a real bad assassination.
Oh, man. Benjamin. Yeah.
I ain't mad because I could have made it 0 and I did.
It's true. I think that's definitely a good way. Just if there's an assassination out there, even if you lose, you feel better about putting damage onto a Warcaster. Like you
heck
said.
yeah.
Like there is nothing in a game that makes me feel better than like rolling an attack on a Warcaster and doing like 11 points of damage. Like even if I'm not gonna kill it, I'm just like, yeah.
Take it.
I just punched your Warcaster in the face.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do about it?
And
even though I'm
sometimes
gonna lose?
sometimes that can actually, I've had that happen where even if you manage to, like, if you put like 10 damage onto a 20 damage Warcaster, it can make the opponent panic. Like they suddenly realize, like,
exactly.
oh shit, like
Grab a
I'm.
paper?
Sorry.
Oh,
Sure.
Oh
You can-
man,
you
my
can-
goal is to
Butcher's
empty
not
this thing.
invincible anymore. Oh no.
Yeah, exactly.
And it can make them, like, even if they're in a point where, yeah, they're still going to win, they can still panic and, like, get tunnel visioned onto, I need to keep my caster alive, even if literally just ending the turn would make me win.
Yep. Well, and I think there's some
there's a little
interesting-
bit in there left for
There's
somebody.
some interesting things that
Riley?
that go on.
Or no, you can drink it too because
Yeah.
you don't have to
and you
drive.
finish it up, buddy. Interesting things can go on. There's something really unique in being able to put damage early on a caster, like using whiplash
come on,
or
finish that
feedback,
thing off.
things
there's
like
more
that,
there.
right? If you can put damage onto a caster early in a game, even if it's inconsequential, it's still
still
suddenly
damage.
creates a dilemma for your opponent because their warcaster is no longer as resilient as they used to be, especially if they're playing something like playing a caster that is similar to the Severius, right? Both
Yeah.
the Severius is low
Oh.
depth, low arm, low hitbox.
Every
Sevi takes every hitbox, every hit point matters. And
Yep.
so if Sevi takes even 2 or 3 points of damage, all of a sudden as a Sevi player, I'm thinking, okay, I've got to be careful. I've got to
Yeah.
be careful with what I do because Severius could die to a stiff breeze.
I can't risk even having a blast drift onto him.
Exactly, and it's,
Yep.
it's a very similar way with some of the Cephalyx casters, right? Cephalyx
I don't know,
casters.
Siphon's arm
are-
17.
He may be arm 17, but how many boxes does he have?
18. He's actually pretty
Siphon's
sturdy.
a lot tougher than I
He's
thought
a
he was.
13-17 with 18 boxes.
That's not bad at all.
No, it's not.
And with the ability to perseverance himself if needed. And
Sure.
or blur.
So I guess
And he also has self-sack monstrosity.
I guess a better
Texas might be a bit
a better
squishy.
comparison
Where's
would be
Texas?
like
Texas is a 14-14 with 15 boxes, so he's super squishy.
would be Thexus. Thexus is super squishy. Not Old Witch, but the crazy Grey Lord lady from Khador.
Zerkova.
Zerkova's
I have a
incredible.
picture of her back there.
Zerkova's incredibly squishy. Take a look at.
Rasheth, like
Rasheth is
fat,
incredible.
the
Oh, yeah.
fat on his fat layers only go so far in that
Fatty
preventing
Mick,
damage.
Fatty
Yep.
Mick Palanquin carry.
Speaking of that guy you mentioned that uses 3D printing to make stuff,
Yeah.
I will pay its weight in gold if he makes me a Rasheth Palanquin with the agonizers holding it up.
Dang, son.
Dude.
It's a way that's a lot of gold.
All right. If you guys are listening to this, you already know.
Tommy, you have a commission.
Yep. Seriously, I want to do that fluff stuff. That would be awesome. So, minor spoilers on things for Wargamer Girl, but nah.
Meh. It's not like anybody watches our channel.
I'm still weirded out that people do.
Right?
By the way, if you want to get a hold of us, if you're local to Albuquerque, New Mexico War Machines /Horde Syndicate. That's our Facebook group.
Also, you can contact us at Should Have Turned Left. Thomas gets in touch with us through that that medium.
Yep.
Facebook messages us there.
If you contact us through that, sometimes we might just direct you to our personal Facebook accounts to make life easier.
Though, admittedly, it was quite nice having both of us able to read what was going on in the chat between the page and Thomas.
Yeah, precisely why I didn't do that with
That was wonderful.
with this stuff.
If you send us messages on YouTube, we don't check that, so sorry.
I check that.
Ben checks that. I don't check that. I don't know if you can message on Twitch, but
I have no idea.
yeah, get in touch with us.
You can
Contact us. Let us know what's up. Maybe you have a.
Oh yeah, we're good. Game's over. We're rambling, and apparently my phone just killed another grunt.
Bam, there you go. But some closing thoughts. Thanks, Thomas, for coming up.
No worries. Like I said, it's been a while since I played, and I miss playing War Machine. It gives me different satisfaction than it does for a lot of my other games that I play. So it's nice just to be able to get games in again.
Definitely. If you're watching this video, hit the like button. If you're new, subscribe. We would love to have you here. If you are all about it and you want to support us, we've got a Patreon page. Check that out. We will see y'all next time, and happy wargaming, y'all.
By all means, if you're in Albuquerque, get a hold of us. We'll get you connected. You can hop on. We have fun.
About my army theme, I have a Cephalyx army that is specifically Evil Doctor themed. So
If you want, there's also a viewer
right
here.
Okay, cool. So my bases.
That's real time. That's crazy delay.
So my bases are all made from green stuff stamps that gave me a linoleum tile look for a sterile medical environment. And then my doctors and Cephalyx are all dressed traditionally, but all of the mercs that I'm trying to use are specifically themed. So I have my Alexia that I use in my Exelon list is dressed as a nurse with a white cap modeled on and things like that. And then my Tactical Arcanist Corps are all dressed in yellow hazmat suits, and their tanks have green goo in them instead. So I'm just showing off stuff because I'm actually really proud of this army as it being, aside from the Boomhowlers, the only fully painted army I own.
You have a fully painted army. That's enough to say on its own.